a very disturbing equity challenge, they called it, being promoted by the Farmington, Michigan School District just outside of Detroit. Farmington Public Schools launched their 21-day equity challenge for parents and staff, encouraging them to focus on race and equity every day for 21 days. And these lessons all work together to teach that America is an oppressive country that discriminates against minorities based on race, gender, ethnicity, and sexual orientation. Tamra Farah is the executive director of Moms for America, and she joins us right now. Tamra, great to have you. What is the school district doing, pushing all of this anti-American propaganda? I thought that the American public spoke out on this and told people conclusively no, but this is aimed at the community, not just the students. I think this is just, something that certain minority of people want to push on the community as a whole and on America. What say you?
Absolutely. The 21-day equity challenge, and Gina, thanks so much for having me. And I serve as the executive director within Moms for America for Mom Force, which is our educational and school board initiative. So I talk to moms all over the country and help them, mentor them, resource them, and network them as they are fighting these battles against this horrible agenda, this critical race theory agenda in our schools. And this is just a repackaging of critical race theory for adults, this 21-day challenge. It teaches crazy things to these district employees, like it's a microaggression to call America the land of opportunity. And it's a microaggression for anyone to ask somebody where they were born, because it could draw attention to their country of origin. So it's more of the same insanity. And here's what is so damaging, Gina, and what is so frightful. For me as a mom, if my kids had been through this when they were in school, they're adults now. I mean, if I had my second grader come home and tell me that this is what they're teaching bottom line critical race theory is that if you are white, you are the oppressor. And if you are any other color, you are the oppressed. And there's no way out of that. It is completely based on your color of skin. And this is really a fascist idea. This is very, very historical. We've seen this throughout American and all of civilization history. And we know that when you segregate people by race or by sexual orientation or by gender or any of those things, the very people who are preaching that this needs to be done are also ultimately, always, without exception, ever in recorded history, ultimately the oppressors. And so that's what this really comes down to. And it seems like the people that this is being exacted upon, who are falling for this because they don't understand history, they always turn out to be the victims. They always turn out to be the ones ushered into to burn to death or to be shot off of buildings, as they are right now under Sharia in many countries around the world if they're gay, and all the rest of it. So, Tamra, whatever happened to the American ideal of just teaching our children, be comfortable with who and what you are and do your best? Exactly. And then the Department of Justice has the audacity to call the parents the domestic terrorists. And we have the schools and the education bureaucracy that is behind all of this teaching, basically terrorizing children. What does it mean to be terrorized? You're put into fear and anxiety. And these children, I believe, are some of the results of these psychological issues that kids are going through is exactly this. If you're white and you're told you're an oppressor and you're 8 years old, how are you going to get over that? But let's expand it. If this is just one thing these kids are being terrorized by, they're also being terrorized through gender manipulation, through constant power of suggestion from trusted adults, putting that upon kids. They're being overtly sexualized through these horrific books that are in their resource centers. They're being taught new math where there's more than one answer to the problem. What do parents want? Parents just want their kids to have a good classical liberal arts education, to learn how to proficiently read, write, calculate, and understand accurate history and appreciate good literature. We are so far from that.
Well, and if anything, to think critically. I remember critical thinking courses were around back when I was in high school, and I thank God I learned how to think critically. and I learned history, because had I not, wouldn't be able to think through these kinds of things. But we really do have a brainwashed certain psychosis happening in this country right now, where it's just not okay to be anything other than whatever the woke deems it's okay to be. So you can be cisgendered, or you can be trans, but you can't be not any of those things. You can't be any of the things that even 20 years ago were considered healthy by the Diagnostics and Statistics Manual. So I don't know where all those experts went. And look, I have no problem with people, whatever they want to do, but now it's that you can't be normal. Whatever normal used to be is not normal anymore. And in fact, it's always the rebels who ultimately are the ultimate conformers. And that's kind of where it gets funny, is that all these people out there acting rebellious, whether it's with the hair colors or the tattoos, not to insult anybody in my studio or me, because I have a tattoo also. Whatever it is, it's just that then everybody does it, and it's no longer a sign of rebellion, right? And now I'm hearing that up to 70% of children in our schools are considering themselves other gendered or trans or something, some other thing other than just a normally, normal kid. And this is at the age of 14, Tamra. 14. Yeah. I would venture to say most 14-year-olds don't know what the heck they are. But again, I have two of them right now, by the way. But Tamra, here's the ultimate question, because we like to talk about solutions on here. You and I know the problem, and you know what? To be honest, this audience is super smart. They know the problem. What can be done? Do we pull our kids out of school? I did. I'm here in Florida, even the free state of Florida. The teachers' unions and the school boards are so out of control that I pulled my kids. So what can we do?
Right now, that is really the best solution, frankly, because there is I call it the education cabal, and it's made up of the education bureaucracy, state boards of education, federal DOE, and then we've also got the, horrible teachers' unions that are just supporting Democrat candidates and are basically, arms of the Democrat Party and the leftist agenda. And then you have these associations that are funded by the left as well, that are controlling through membership. And so this cabal has a stranglehold on our schools, and we continue to encourage parents to speak up and push back, go to your school board meetings, make your case, because we just really should never be silent. But frankly, that alone is not going to change this. In the meantime, take your kids out of public school. That is my suggestion. We helped start one of the largest classical charter schools in Colorado. And so I've always been an education choice person. And usually I've said in the past that there can be good public schools, but not right now. They don't exist. And so for the sake of your children, there's micro schools, micro pods. We have a lot of resources for classical online education, traditional homeschooling. But get together. If you're a two-parent working family or a working mom, you can do this with the help of a group of friends and, small group and a group of kids being together, say, doing an online program, forming a micro school. So momforce21.com, we have all those resources for you. We love to share what other groups and organizations are doing that most of us that know those organizations respect, and we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just plugging people in with what exists, and then offering mentoring and assistance as they go through the process. But take your kids out. There's just not a good, if you can. If you can't, then you just do your best to spend time with them every day.
But I think we need to empower people, though, Tamra, to say you can. You absolutely can. It's not that you can't. I think people think it's expensive, or it's burdensome, it's overwhelming. You take out all those carpooling trips back and forth to school. You take out some of the rudimentary, my kid forgot his lunch, I got to run it there. You take out the expense of the everyday school clothes or uniforms or whatever. I mean, quickly, those things add up, and you realize that you actually end up with a surplus plus of time and money when you homeschool. But the most important part isn't even just the indoctrination that we're talking about, Tamra. The most important part is the mother of five. I can honestly tell you, you hang on to their hearts. Someone told me that early. I never forgot it. And that's the reason why my family, and we haven't always homeschooled. We put them in private schools from time to time. You also can't trust every private school. That's another big thing I need to say. Just because it's a private school, just because it's a religious school, does not mean you can trust them any more than a public school, or just because you live in a good neighborhood. These are all things that I've been through, and I have wonderful relationships with my kids now where we discuss all of this. And there is no better choice. And then it's keeping your kids close to you and schooling from home. And like you said, there are literally thousands of resources on the internet, as well as your great organization. So tell us again how to reach your organization.
Momforce21.com. That'll just take you to our pages on Moms for America. Just over Christmas, even though our kids were in this great classical church school, it wasn't the right thing for them as they got older. And I brought our daughter home to homeschool her in junior high. And she just told me, she's 28 now, she told me over the Christmas break, those were her favorite years of school. And she's never said that to me before, but it was, it just, like you said, you get their heart, and plus they learn at a pace that makes sense for them. And our kids were in speech and debate, they were in mock legislatures, we were at the Alito, hearings, and they had so many more experiences that they wouldn't have had we not homeschooled them at the end.
No doubt, no doubt. That's one of my favorite things is then they're on my schedule instead of me being on their schedule. When do we want to go on vacation? Well, guess what? It's when it works for me. It's when it works for their dad. Instead of it being, oh, well, so-and-so's got a break from here to here, and so-and-so's got a break from here. No, we schedule it around what keeps our family moving forward, which is, our jobs and our careers, which is so much less child-centered. You don't want to get me started on that, but that's why it's a good thing, and I think children benefit, parents benefit, you can save money and a lot of time doing it, and it doesn't mean, I think a lot of moms think too, or dads, you're sitting at a table, 24 hours a day, and for me, oh wow, if you know me, you know I can't do that. I can barely sit here to host a show for an hour because I'm so, squirmy, but there are many other ways to do it too. Lots of online programs and tutors as well. So thank you so much for being with us today, Tamra. We appreciate all you're doing.
And I love your story. Thank you.
Thank you. Coming up, Washington, D.C. is cracking